The college football experience, Mountain West win total locks and championship picks episode of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL projections are now live. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
College football experience, Mountain West 2024 win totals, locks, and championship picks. Excited to bring you an episode, even though we've been working in the elements here with computers turning off, audio cutting out. There was an earthquake in California that may be unjustly being blamed for this, and also NC Nick is working with a chair from. A rumor has it that at one point, Theodore Roosevelt sat on that same very seat. So it's a little long in the tooth, but we're gonna get there. YouTube.com/the college experience. Hopefully you listen to all 134 previews we got going, and then the win totals locks episode. Oh, there's not just one win totals locks. No, you actually got to do a little work this year. All right. Each and every conference, it's all available for you. SEC and Big 10 last week, ACC, Mountain West tonight, tomorrow, the Big 12. It's the Big 12. Yeah. Look at our podcasting setup tonight. We got the Theodore Roosevelt chair. And then I am working on a, let's just say, overheating computer. That is a nice dish of ice underneath. It's basically like it's like if you were going to cook stuffing. That's the best way. Like a glass dish to put in the oven, full with ice, with Saran wrap over the top of it. This should go great. If I get electrocuted and die, just know I'm gonna nail these fucking locks. Right?
Colby's putting the old Tecmo Super Bowl tricks to work. You know?
Oh yeah.
Put it in the freezer, yeah, and then
people
take it out.
About that. People don't know about that to this day. You put the video game in the freezer for a good 5 minutes. That shit works forever. They don't know.
By the way, I think it was Thomas Edison's chair that he once sat in because his birthplace is right down the road.
Woo,
there it is.
There we go. Look, if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, tailless pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
That's the way I feel with my computer right now. Shout out to the chat. Dave in there. He caught the Stadium Heads podcast talking about UConn Stadium and all the college football stadiums. Check that out. Shout out to Chad G, loyal listener.
The man.
Guy. Yeah. Shout out to Vinny Villanova, Timothy Green. We got everybody rolling. To get over there, youtube.com/the college experience. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh, up.
Let's get it going, buddy. All right.
Cheers, gentlemen.
The Mountain West. They haven't really been affected. The MAC gets all the street cred for conference realignment, even though they're adding UMass. Mountain West stayed steady. Hold.
Mountain West went out of their way to show solidarity with each other. They were like, nah, man, no one's leaving. We got each other's back. We're riding
except
it through
San
this
Diego
thing.
State.
I was gonna
that's true.
say
San Diego State.
San Diego State had big plans, and then all of a sudden, the Pac-12 didn't exist, and then they wrote back to the ex-girlfriend saying, "You think I can come over? Bring a bottle of wine?" We're also joined by a third man in the booth. He's currently sitting in a basement in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, perhaps searching for Jimmy Hoffa. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, home brew making, the tobacco road living, the free lot giving, farmer here in the Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
there we go. What's going on, guys?
I'm working like I got computer overheating, audio problems, alcohol problems. The only thing I could find was a Bailey's chocolate edition. Right? I'm sitting over here having Bailey's chocolate on ice. Like it's
the
goddamn
dedication
Christmas.
cannot be questioned.
I'm fucking Kris Kringle over here. You know what I mean? But guys, the Mountain West is here, and let me tell you, coming into the season, there was a ton of coaching changes, but in the past 60 days, there's been 2 more. There's only by my count, Odom at UNLV, Norvell at Colorado State, Calhoun at Air Force, and Timmy Chang at Hawaii. That's the only stability you have in the conference now, because Jeff Tedford stepped down with health problems. Blake Anderson got fired from Utah State. Some questionable stuff going on there potentially. But
you say Norvell at Colorado State?
Yeah.
Did you mention? Okay. Yeah,
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But here we are, the Mountain West, I think. Now, if I had to place a wager, me and Moneyline Mac were talking about this. Check out the Big 12 college experience and the college basketball experience. But we don't think, we think without question, the Mountain West is the top group of 5 conference. But we don't think the pollsters will honor that when it comes time. We think like if, Memphis or Tulane or whatever has the same record as Boise, we think because they have a bigger TV deal that they will get the shot over the Mountain West, even though they have this tie-in with Washington State and Oregon State. What do you guys think? You guys think this is gonna, what do you make of the conference? I think it's as open as it's been in a long time. And even though they've had I guess, Boise State won it last year, but the year before that won. And obviously a lot of people think San Jose State should have won it last year or should have played in it. But the year before that we had was Fresno won it that year before, I believe. And then the year before that, Utah State. Yeah. So we've had some parity in this conference, but what do you think of the overall perception of the conference? And is that a problem they got to get over this season's, particularly as we have this looming 12-team playoff?
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, potentially we'll see. I think we all agree that it is the best G5 conference. Not only could they be, could an AAC team be chosen to be taken over Boise or Fresno or whoever wins the Mountain West, but I think you have to worry about a team from like a bad conference like the CUSA or the MAC potentially go undefeated or maybe just one loss. And there's a little bit more carnage in the Mountain West because there's that many more good teams, good quality teams. So it's going to be really fascinating who gets that one G5 spot and whether or not the Mountain West gets screwed, because I can see your point. I can see it happening.
I just feel like majority of the committees on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So it's just like, are they really staying up to watch, this Wyoming game, or this Boise game or whatever?
Well, let me
East
tell you
Coast
what.
bias is a real thing.
If the AP has any indication on how the committee will think, they're not giving any of the group of 5 much credibility. The AP top 25 preseason came out today. No group of 5 teams in the top 25. Others receiving votes, however, Boise State is the top 25 team, coming in at 28 with 47 votes. Then Liberty down at about 30 with 32 votes. Memphis with 16, UTSA with 6, Tulane 5, App State 4.
So only one. So Air Force just winning 40 games in 3 seasons, just no vote.
Yeah, not a chance.
Okay.
Not a top 50 school in the nation, apparently.
Yeah, that's the
Probably
problem.
top 35.
I have hung out with some of the people that get to vote, not sure they're all football guys, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like,
Not surprised.
yeah.
We're looking at you, the athletic.
I really feel like you should have to show that you watch it, like put a camera in your house and show that you're watching 8 hours of college football every Saturday. Because millions of dollars are at stake. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, certainly with Condoleezza Rice, it's like we have a problem if you're able to effectively run the country and you're effectively able to be on the committee. Like, you're either superhuman or you're not doing one of those jobs quite right. So,
yeah. Anyway, I think that's a real issue, but we'll talk more about that coming up here. But I want to tell you folks out there that you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and the Sports Gambling Podcast just launched their 32 team NFL team preview series. No matter how ridiculous and amateur and terrible that new kickoff is in the NFL, there's still money to be made in the NFL. 32 teams, 32 podcasts. Yes, SGP, they're giving out a $500 circa future bet for the listeners there. So get on over there, check that out. Plus the EPL returns. So make sure you check out the Soccer Gambling Podcast and the EPL Gambling Podcast for your footy fix there. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast in the SGPN app. All right, we are back and let's go. I was at Mountain West Media Day, so I will lead you. I'll lead off here for the locks.
Away.
Let's. I mean, the chat's already talking about it. I think you are looking for continuity with this many coaching changes. You're either looking for some of the coaches that are staying, or some of the coaches that were with the program previously. Like Utah State, Blake Anderson gone, Nate Drilling coming in. He was not with the program last year. Tim Skipper, the new head coach of Fresno State, he's been with the program for a long time. Or say Jay Salvell in Wyoming, and I will lead things off with the Wyoming Cowboys over 6.5 wins. Don't disrespect me. I actually think, in a way, I love Craig Bowl. Had an opportunity to sit down with Craig Bowl a year ago, but I actually think, in a way, Salvell is exactly kind of like Craig Bowl. He was their DC for a long time. Craig Bowl's son is on the staff, and I think he's more willing to hit the portal and address a few areas of weakness. So I think it might be a perfect storm going there in Laramie, especially with all the carnage across the conference from team to team. I am on the over with Wyoming and lock it up. NC Nick,
I like the play. I'm close. I mean, it was one of those potential ones. I'm definitely on the over. The schedule's a little tricky. Like, what do you think their out of conference record is, considering they got at Arizona State, Idaho, BYU, and at North Texas? You think they're 3-1?
I think 3-1, and I think 4-0 could happen. But I really like all of them. The BYU game scares me the most. I think they're going to beat Arizona State and Tempe. Right now, I think they're 7-point dogs, 6-point dogs. I don't understand that line. So I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Their offensive line is the best in the Mountain West to me. Yeah. And their running back room if Swoboda hits at the quarterback spot. Remember, he played that Texas game last season. And it was 10-10 in the fourth, and he was young, and I really like the Wyoming spot. So, and shout out to Lonte Smith in the chat saying Josh Allen reincarnated. Yeah, he really is.
They're gonna hit 7 at least. I mean, even if I think the end of their schedule is really tough. I think they could lose their last 3 games. I think the team's at least gonna hit 7 though. I'll lock it up with you. Let's go.
Let's
triple.
Oh, there we go.
Well, I don't get break the egg cold, but they're counting down 7, 6, 5.
We have a triple lock. Wyoming over 6.5 wins.
I mean, if you're saying he's the, if continuity shouldn't be an issue, and he's going to have a similar, level of success that Bowl had, taking out the COVID season, where honestly they went 2-4, so that wasn't that good. But throw that one away completely. The other ones, he's been super consistent between 6 and 9 wins every year. And then out of those last 7 years, he would have hit the over 5 times, and the other 2 years he would have gotten a 6, so only a half game under. So this program has gotten used to winning at least 7 games. I don't think it's, especially with this schedule, at all a stretch. So I'm definitely locking with you.
Well, and the logic is this, man. Swoboda got some reps last season, looked like the more promising quarterback, even at the, me and NC Nick were at the game in Laramie there, and against App. But their running back room, getting DJ James from North Carolina to go with Harrison Whaley, I really think that backfield is loaded there. And then 4 or 5 on the O line is back, and they went out and got Tyler King from Texas Tech at the wide receiver spot. This is something I don't think they would have done a year ago, so I think they addressed their weaknesses. They have one of the best tight ends in the conference. Their defense is stout, and guess what? They're going to still be stout because Salvell ran the defense. So I look at this, and I'll even say this: what do we think of them to get to the championship game? They're hosting Boise in Laramie, in the final 3 games of the season. There, I think. Where are the losses? At Colorado State, I know you're saying NC Nick, the Washington State game's irrelevant as far as them getting to the championship game here in the conference. So if you're looking at the, conference odds or to make the title, let's see, to make the title game in the Mountain West, you get Wyoming plus 400 to make the game, to win the conference. It's sitting there at plus 1400. I love those odds. If anything, Boise State's got a freshman quarterback on the road in Laramie late, kind of a pass happy offense. I know they have Ashton Jeanty and stuff, but I think they want to throw the ball a little more. And I don't know that, I know they've owned Wyoming historically, but I think it's a good spot to catch them with all the pressure on the line if they can get there. And another thing is Air Force always struggles in Laramie. So they don't play UNLV.
It sounds crazy. I think you got to worry about the 2 road trips at San Jose State and even at New Mexico. They're not going to drop them both, but it wouldn't surprise me if they drop one of those. Wyoming's not the same team on the road. It's not like they have superior talent than some of these other teams. And they played that brand of football where it's low scoring, and sometimes that leads to being upset.
I'll say this, though, with all the turnover, man, like I said, not getting UNLV that, with all the turnover, look at what they're facing here. And, Air Force is returning 4 guys, I think 5 guys on their whole team back, and they've had a knack for taking down Air Force in Laramie. But think about the first year coaches they're getting: San Diego State, San Jose State, Utah State, New Mexico, 4 in a row right there. Right. I just feel like you get through that and you get the Air Force game. Even if you don't get the Air Force game, you just got to go 1-1 in your final 2.
Yeah.
I think this team is playing for the Mountain West Championship. So let's go. And I actually think from continuity wise, and I want to hammer this point too, the conference has gotten a little pass happy. I think teams like Air Force and Wyoming can benefit from the fact the whole conference wants to pass the hell out of the ball.
I'm with you on the over, but I'm sorry. You want to finish that thought?
No, I'm just saying, like you look at Robert and I's guy, Jason Beck's running at there's no more Rocky Long in the conference. Sean Lewis is playing fast, veer and shoot. New Mexico going air raid. Every single team, Brennan now at UNLV running that, quick tempo go offense. And then, run and shoot out San Jose State. Brent Brennan was much more of kind of a ground and pound. It's changed where I feel like Wyoming and Air Force could really benefit some wins here because the teams
are anomalies.
Yeah. So loading up on Wyoming.
I will agree with you. I'm locking the over, obviously, like we said, but a little concerned, like Nick mentioned, the offense. They were 80th in the nation in scoring and 49th defensively, so good scoring defense, or at least above average. But again, when you're in these dogfights, especially against high-powered offenses, all it takes is 1 or 2 of those offenses to catch fire, and you might find yourself in a bad place. That said, most games they don't. Most games they play pretty lockdown defense and play ground control football and clock control football. That said, I have them right in that second or third spot within the conference. You haven't talked a lot about Fresno. I know that Tedford won't be there this year, but that was one of our preseason favorites. Are you really feeling pretty strong that that's going to affect them negatively?
Well, I mean, first off, they don't play Fresno, so but I would
just
say
mean in terms of conference wins.
Wow, anytime Jeff Tedford leaves, you can't feel great about. I mean, I still think Fresno. I'm going to mention them in a little bit, I think, but obviously you can't feel as good as you felt 2 months ago. You know, with Jeff Tedford coming back, I thought they were the odds on. I thought when people were saying Boise, I was like, Fresno's better than Boise. But now Jeff Tedford steps down. I think you're a little more like, yeah, you know. I still think though that we'll call their name there, and I think they'll be in the mix for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on the overall. So triple lock it, but I'm not quite there with you as far as Wyoming making the championship game. We'll get to that later.
Okay. Next up, Patty C. Where are you locking up in the Mountain West?
Oh, the line has moved. Apparently, the people have spoken a little bit in agreement with me, but I still am strongly on the over. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, baby.
Hell yeah.
Give me over on 5 wins.
You know, June Jones was on the show. I don't know, like 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or something. He was buying into this year's team too. He said, "Bull." The win total is what now 5. It was at 4.5. Here's what you gotta love, and this is why I think NC Nick we should probably. This is one of my fringe ones, and I feel
it's not fringe for me. I'm on it. Let's go, Patty.
Let's go. Let's triple lock it. Let's go. Triple lock the Rainbow Warriors. Wait, I think I have a better song for that.
It's a hard ticket.
All the heaters.
Once again, with the Anderson and Tedford news, continuity. There's only 4 coaches that are back. Timmy Chang's one of them, and Shager Bombs is back at the quarterback spot. And they have 2 FCSs on the schedule. Delaware State at the Chang Complex. Bring your membership. August 24th. Northern Iowa comes in September 21st. I think they'll be favored in both those games, obviously. And Nevada is on the schedule. They're not any good. Mendenhall is on the schedule. That's winnable right there. That's 4 if they can get those ones. But now all of a sudden, guess what? Fresno and Utah State were on the schedule. Those games look more winnable now than they did before. They also have a trip to Huntsville, Texas, to take on Sam Houston State, where I think they could win that game. The only like flat out losses I think you have on this schedule are what? At Washington State and probably still at Fresno. But
hosting Boise is probably a loss.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I did the same exercise, and I thought there was 9 games that are winnable with Boise, Fresno, and Wazoo as the surefire losses. And I mean, that's pretty nice right there. If you look at what Timmy Chang's done, year 1, 3-10, then 5-8 last year. This year they go bowling. Let's go.
Yeah, I think, and the fact they get UCLA week 1 after not, getting that week 0 game. And I don't know if you know this, but Honolulu is located in Hawaii, guys. Deshaun Foster joke that didn't go over with you guys,
okay.
But
a little slow on the uptake here.
Hi, we're University of Hawaii. We're located in Hawaii. I think that game could be live dogs there. So I'm with you. Let's lock up the over on this. I really think this team, they went out and got Dennis Thurman, Rex Ryan's old assistant, to be the defensive coordinator. That was it was funny. I sat down go listen to the Timmy Chang interview I had. He had recruited Timmy Chang back in the day to go to USC when he was with Pete Carroll. So I think that's a pretty big get there at the DC spot, Dennis Thurman. And then like you said, I mean, how many first-year coaches, even more than Wyoming, right? I feel like their whole damn schedule's first-year coaches. Yeah.
And speaking of first-year coaches, Timmy Chang really took over like in a really tough spot. I don't know, what was it? A year or was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago. No, it was like a mutiny. Todd Graham, his own son was like, "I'm out of here." He was on the other side of his own father. So shit was going crazy down there.
Yeah, he showed good progress last year. Year 1 was really a complete throwaway for Chang. He showed progress last year, and so hopefully year 3 with Shager Bombs chucking the ball around, everything's firing. Maybe we'll have Timmy Chang 2.0 back there. I mean, I guess Shager Bombs kind of already was, but
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more in a second. But I want to tell you folks out there that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. If you go 8-0, you can win 325 times your entry or play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes, and Underdog just launched their season-long college football projections. By the way, we just dropped a Best Ball episode too. So go check that out. We did a Best Ball draft, NC Nick, Moneyline Mac on this very feed. But yes, Underdog just launched their season-long projections. If you get a chance, jump on over there. I haven't seen much out there that offers stuff like that. I took the Riley Leonard under passing prop, and I took the over LaQuint Allen season-long rushing prop there at Syracuse. They're offering stuff that I really haven't seen any other places offer. So there's a lot of value in getting over there. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries too. So sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code TCESGPN. All right. Back talking Mountain West. We're all on the over locked up. So 2 plays right now, 2 double locks, Wyoming on the over, Hawaii on the over. NC Nick, it goes to you.
Yeah, we're going to keep the over train rolling, and I'm going to take Colorado. I'm sorry. You got me?
I believe he said
my computer's way slow. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry. You got to ruin my momentum there. I'm going to keep the over train rolling. I'm going to go Colorado State over 6. Another coach in his 3rd year, Jay Norvell. He went 3-9, then 5-7, playing a bunch of freshmen and sophomores. The quarterback Braden Fowler Nicolosi, 2nd year in the system. I expected him to make a big jump, limit the interceptions. And if you look at the schedule, I see such an easy base for 6 wins. I mean, you got 5 home games that should be shoe-ins for W's. That's Northern Colorado, UTEP, San Jose, New Mexico, and Utah State. And then the road win at Nevada. There's your 6, and you're already pushing. So I see Colorado State making a lot of noise in the conference this year.
I will double lock. This was on my list as well because I think you could argue this might be the best play on the board. And once again, I also think there's a ton of value on them getting to the Mountain West Championship as well.
Now you're talking my language.
They don't play Boise. They don't play UNLV. They don't play San Diego State. I don't know if that's, I think San Diego State's going to be a bowl team. So that matters. And to me, they get Wyoming. And let's be honest, the at Fresno game seems a little more easier now. They got to win at Air Force. And Troy Calhoun has fucking owned Colorado State. That's the one. I think Calhoun in the 16 years is 14-2 against Colorado State.
Jeez.
But they can even, they like 2 losses will probably get you in. So if they lost to Air Force and Fresno, they just got to go to me 1-2 in that 3-game tough stretch of Air Force, Wyoming, and Fresno. I am with you on the over. I think they also could beat Colorado at home. I say this as a Buffs fan. That's a dangerous game because it's the week after Nebraska. To me, it's a great schedule. And the fact, once again, I'm counting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new head coaches out of 12 games. That is why you load up on Colorado State on the over. Patty C, want to join?
I'm taking the over too. I'm contemplating. It was borderline lock worthy, like you mentioned. Some of those games are tough. Road trip to Oregon State, road trip to Arizona, road trip to Fresno. The Colorado game they probably have circled on the calendar after last year. So if they can squeeze out a win there, then I think the lock definitely hits. But just so we're not playing the Miami Connection music all night, I love
that song. Come on.
It's funny. I was watching, of all shows, Nerdy Ass Mystery Science Theater 3000 the other day. They're roasting Miami Connection and that song in particular. Recommend you folks go watch it. Fucking amazing. Colby has he's got a great love for 80s fucking heat heaters.
You got to know, you look, they don't make them like that anymore. You know what I mean? They really don't. If you haven't, it's basically like picture the worst Seagal movie times 10. That's what Miami Connection is. So go check that out. But yes, so Patty C. So we don't have a triple lock, just a double lock. This one, and I think for me, I actually feel better about Colorado State's play than Hawaii's. So my rank had like Wyoming and Colorado State at the top. Then I had Hawaii as a fringe, and I ended up joining on that. But I feel very, very good about this play.
Is anybody going to take an under?
It jumps back to myself, but before I do that, I do have a few I do. But hang on.
Real quick, I got a prop bet for you. Braden quarterback battle. Who's getting more
Shager bombs or
Fowler Nkosi? Shager bombs had 35-42 last year. Fowler Nkosi had 34-60. So it's pretty darn close.
I'm taking Shager because 2 FCSs.
Yeah.
And Colorado State has what? Colorado and Texas on there.
Yep. There you go.
But folks, look, I want to tell you the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. Yes, football season is here and the college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that, or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting for you. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists and quants, and Rhythm already has you covered for week 0 of the college football slate and week 1 of the NFL. I personally like Georgia Tech plus 13 against Florida State in Dublin. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Yeah, Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa. It's giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. If you don't have a trip booked yet for Las Vegas before football season, may I recommend the Ultimate Contest Weekend? It's a great time to go out. You can hang with the Sports Gambling Podcast guys, Stacking the Money Green, Ryan Real Money Kramer. And don't forget CJ Sullivan, the bet detective, the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. All of them are going to be out there. So what are you doing? Get out there. Enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd to August 24th. Use the promo code SGP15 to save you 15% off your hotel room that weekend. But yeah, you want to sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th, and you can use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. So do that. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right, back talking Mountain West action. My next lock, though, if I'm going by like basically power play here, I am taking you to Fresno, where I still believe over 7.5 wins. Wait, is it 7.5 or 7? 7.5, I think it is, right? Because it went down a half a game after Tedford. Let me just double check that. Yes, 7.5. Now it is minus 135. Over at DK, but Fresno's too good. This team is too good, and Skipper has been there for a long time. So, can you build me 5 losses on the schedule? They're at Michigan week 1. Sure, that's a loss, right? But after that, you look at the schedule, and everything's kind of favorable. Like I said, maybe they lose to Colorado State. Maybe Air Force can get them, right? But I just can't see 5 losses here. They would have to lose every 50-50 game to be 7-5. And to me, first off, they've beaten UCLA 5 straight times. So when I see a game at the Rose Bowl on November 30th, UCLA will already be non-bowl eligible, right? I'm sorry. They're going to whoop UCLA's ass at the Rose Bowl like they do every time, right? So then you're thinking, okay, where are the losses? Where give me 5 losses on the schedule, NC Nick. I'm on the over with Fresno. They don't play Boise in the regular season. They don't play Wyoming. They do play Colorado State, but it's in Fresno, one of the better home environments in this whole damn conference, with Tedford or without. And another thing I will highlight is what happened when Tedford got a health issue the first time. There was this guy named Kalen DeBauer that took over. No one knew who the fuck he was, but guess what? He won a ton of games, right? Tedford's staff is always really good. You can look at, Ryan Grubb, who's now the Seahawks offensive coordinator. He was on Tedford's staff. I just trust the culture there. Fresno, the culture goes back really to Jim Sweeney in the 1980s, where Tedford played for him and was a coordinator for him. And I just don't see a way they lose all those games. So give me Fresno on the over. Let's go Bulldogs. And who's coming?
I'm not.
Oh, I'm definitely on that. I am definitely on Fresno on the over. That is my third over lock. I have one under, but that is my third out of 4 locks.
Double lock. I can't believe NC Nick. We're going to have NC Nick talk about this one here. I mean, it's Mikey Keene's second year in Tedford's offense.
It's not that I necessarily disagree with you, but I'm also seeing a lot of 8s out there. And I think ultimately this might be an 8-4 team. Now, if you can still find a 7.5, and
there's a bunch of 7.5 out there too.
And if you're willing to lay that juice, I think you're safe. I do. But the schedule is tricky enough, and with the new unproven head coach, I'm going to pass on this one. There's a lot of plays I like in the conference. You're probably right. I feel pretty good about the over, just not good enough to ride there with you guys.
Wowzers. Patty C, look, what's the worst case scenario here? Yeah.
They did have a lot of close wins last year.
They also had a lot of injuries, like with Keene going down, and with Tedford missing games too.
I just feel like you look at this; they're the more talented team in almost.
I think 11 out of 12 games.
Well, I mean, another thing is their home environment is legit, so it's like Washington State has to go to Fresno. Sure, they could still win that game, but I think you're more likely to side with Fresno there. Same with Colorado State. Like, I still think of that, even with Colorado State, the way I'm bullish about Colorado State, that's to me the loss on Colorado State's conference schedule. So, in the Washington State games are relevant for them getting to the championship game. Now, it matters for, obviously, the over, but at UNLV, have you guys seen a Fresno State game at UNLV? My point is, that's a Fresno crowd. Fresno fans are that's a home game for Fresno. So like I don't buy into the sure they can still lose the game, but 5 losses? I'm sorry, it's just not there. But if I had to search for 5 losses, what Michigan, UNLV, Washington State, Air Force, Colorado State, but that would be them losing every single 50-50 game.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens.
Fair enough.
Well, I locked it with you, so I agree. I mean, I will say this: they had probably UNLV in the best spot you could get them last year, off of a bye, homecoming in Fresno, and they only beat them by 7. So UNLV has gotten better.
No. They're up by 25 at halftime. They dressed that shit up. UNLV dressed that shit up. Fresno was beating their ass at halftime. They scored a bunch in the 4th though. UNLV did come back heavy, but I'm just saying
that game was
it was close. Or maybe it was after the 3rd. I don't remember what it was, but I know Fresno was up by 2 or 3 scores for majority of that game. I feel good about it. Let's go. NC Nick, it jumps back to you. Or wait, is it Patty C?
I don't know whose turn is it.
Dude, UNLV was actually up by 10 at half, but then Fresno rattled off 24 in the 3rd to pull ahead, and then UNLV closed the gap with the touchdown in the 4th.
I just remember watching, and they were getting their ass whooped.
Probably caught the 3rd quarter then. But I mean, they were up by 14 in the 4th. So I do think Fresno is a better team than UNLV. And did you say, Nick, you're about to fire off one? Because UNLV is one of my teams, and I think they may be one of Nick's.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead, Patty C. Go lead the charge.
That is an under. Is that our first under here?
It is. And I'm with you.
I was on the fence. I know, on our sheet, I think I did lock it up as an under, but now I'm kind of. I mean, do you think they can do it again? Do you think last year was like a flash in the pan, or do you think UNLV can somehow get to 8 wins again or something?
I'll say this: I had this as a lock. If you listen to our preview, but I did our preview before Jeff Tedford and Blake Anderson had gotten canned, so it is an easier belief that they could hit the over now, but I still think we're pretty much safe. Last season's schedule, they played nobody good. Look at their non-con this year.
Yeah.
At Houston, at Kansas, at Oregon State, and home to Syracuse. And then their fifth game is home to Utah Tech. That's a tall order for them to get all of those games. I almost feel like they're going to be 1-4 in those. And then in conference. So what's that win total at right now? 7.5, was it?
Yeah.
So if they go 1-4, like the line says, Houston's currently favored. Kansas will be favored. Syracuse will probably be favored, and we know Oregon State will be favored at Reeser. So then you're like, hey, will they lose one more game? They play Boise State. They also play Fresno State. Now both those are in Vegas, but I tend to think like even Hawaii could get them on the road on the island. Hawaii's pulled off a few upsets. I think Sean Lewis and San Diego State could potentially get them. So I still lock up the under here. Now I will say, obviously, I had the Fresno game as an automatic loss, but then Tedford retired. And now I think it's a much more winnable game. It's almost like 60-40. I lean Fresno, but same with Utah State. I thought they would lose at Maverick Stadium there, Merlin Olsen Field. Now it's a little more winnable. It's more 50-50 to me. So I still lock up the under though, and I feel pretty damn good about it.
They're not getting to 8. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's at -150, and maybe that was some part of the reason for my pause of hesitation there. But I mean, they're not getting to 8. If you look at last 3 games of the year, before the bowl game, they gave up 37, 44, and 49 points. The defense was struggling big time. The only teams they beat with a winning record last year were Wyoming and Air Force. Okay, I'm with you. Lock it up. Triple lock. Let's go.
Now we're talking. You need a winner.
A winner.
Let's go. Triple lock on the over. I'm sorry, on the under with the Air Force Falcons. I mean, Jesus. I can't talk. On the UNLV Running Rebels. This is a fucking nightmare. Anyway, lock up the under with UNLV. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, let me say this. This team in the last 40 years has hit over 7.5, has hit 8 wins or more in the regular season one time. Granted, it was last year, but the fact that, it's a one-time deal. Yes, Barry Odom did an amazing job year one. So I think he's a solid coach. We've said this many times, but I think just to expect that program to maintain that level of success for multiple years out of nowhere, no. And then I think the schedule's harder.
Jaden Mavia, their starting quarterbacks at USC now.
Yeah, a little
so
detail.
Matthew Saluka, our boy, comes in, but I don't know that he'll be playing at that high of a level. I like Matthew Saluka, but Tebow 2.0. I just think they'd have to have every single thing go right, and I just feel like those other teams are better. It's a tougher much tougher schedule than a year ago. Patty C. Oh no, you went there. So Nick, you got anything left on the board?
Yeah, I do. Another under here, and I think you guys might be on this with me. I'm gonna go Utah State under 5, just -105. Nate Drilling, just put into an impossible situation once Gary Anderson got fired. I thought this was a 5 or a 6 team with Gary Anderson, and now we got a brand new head coach, a really young guy, very unproven. Looking at the schedule, there's only a couple surefire wins here. Anybody else coming with me on Utah State under?
No, just because I believe I'm very curious. I see your logic. Like, he's so young, he's barely coached, but damn, did he do a good job with New Mexico State's defense the past 2 years. So I like Jerry Kill guy. I could see still 6-6 or something, but so I'm not going to join you here, but keep talking.
I mean, 6-6.
I'm on the under with you, Nick.
Yeah, you gonna lock it with me?
I'm not gonna lock it, but I am on the under.
I mean, look at the schedule. Show me the 6 wins. I mean, they're going to beat Robert Morris. Probably going to beat at Temple, but
yes, they will.
Okay. Probably New Mexico at home.
I think they could still beat UNLV at Maverick.
Oh, well, okay. Tell me which ones they're going to be favored in. How about that?
Okay. Robert Morris, Temple, New Mexico. I think they'll be favored against Hawaii because it's going to be cold as fuck in Logan. Probably by that point in the year. So, and then even San Diego State, I think, I favor San Diego State, but not by much. 3.
Okay, so maybe they're favored in 4 games. I don't think they're going to win all 4 of those games. So then, maybe they win, make a 3-1 as a favorite, and then maybe they upset somebody, and you're at 4. This team's not getting a 6. That's my point.
It's pretty strong play. I agree.
I could see 6-6. I see a path to 6-6, but I think Robert Morris, Temple, UNLV, New Mexico, Hawaii, San Diego State. Those are all games at home, and then at Temple was the only road trip there, and that's technically a home game because no one goes to those things. It's possible for them 6-6. Like I said, I'm not ready to crown UNLV at Maverick Stadium.
That would be them going undefeated at home, except for they would lose to Utah at home, which we're all expecting. So 5-1 at home from an average team with an unproven coach. No, thank you.
Look, you might be right. I just said I don't have the confidence in this one just because I think he did such a good job at New Mexico State. And if you look, that offense was fire last year. The defense was horrible. So if he just improves that defense like he did at New Mexico State, that offense is going to move the rock. I don't know. I think if I had to lean anywhere, I think I'm still going over. Still going over, but right. I don't feel great about this play anymore. It's off the board for me. Anything else you want to say about this one?
The flip side of versus UNLV, where they as a program haven't been able to win that much consistently. Utah State has, 10-2 in 2018, 7-6 in 2019, 11-3 in 2021, and then got to bowls each of the last 2 years with 6 wins. So most of the time, basically the last 5 years non-COVID, they went bowling. So going bowling is in their DNA, but for whatever reason, this schedule looks a little tough. So that's why I'm not locking it down, but I think they're on the under.
Gotcha. I will, if you want to stay doing unders, here's the under you guys should be on. Nevada under 2.5 wins. This is cashing. Bar. How's it not cashing though? They don't, their FCS is Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington took Fresno State to overtime at Fresno last year, right? To me, where are the wins here? Like maybe Eastern Washington. Then what? I don't see any other. Like I think this is a 1-11 team. Maybe they could get a second, just an upset against somebody. Hawaii. I can't see 3 wins.
You make a strong point here. What's the juice?
Now it is. Let me see the best number I can get you here on the Wolf Pack.
It's minus 110, so it's really no juice at all.
Wait, is it 2.5 or a flat
2.5? Wait. Let me see right now.
I'm seeing 2.5 minus 110.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good point, Colby.
Yeah, build me 3 wins right there. I think 0-12 is on the table here. I actually do believe 0-12 is on the table. SMU, what's that spread? It's like 30 points already. I forget. I saw it the other day.
25, I think.
Yeah. At Troy is going to be a loss. Georgia Southern tends to be good in the first half of the season. So Georgia Southern is going to smack them around. They head to Minnesota. That's a body blow game. And then the Eastern Washington comes in with every reason to, a good FCS. Then they get a bye week. They're at San Jose State. Technically your 2 wins could be Eastern Washington, the bye week at San Jose State. But once again, I think San Jose State's a more talented team. I think Kenny Amatolo is a more proven coach.
At least be a touchdown favorite.
Yeah. And then, home to Oregon State, home to Fresno, at Hawaii, home to Colorado State, at Boise, bye week, home to Air Force, at UNLV. No, they don't get sense.
Let's do it. I'm in.
They don't get New Mexico. You want New Mexico on the schedule. You even want Utah State with all the uncertainty not on the schedule. This is cashing. Patty C, you coming with?
I'll roll with it. Wait, one more question. Is Brennan Lewis coming back at quarterback?
Yes, he is.
Well, then that guarantees it. Lock it up.
Nice.
Triple lock Nevada under 2.5. Let's go. Look, I'm going to try to quickly find something here. I'm curious for exact wins. this could be hilarious. An 0-12. If you can find an 0-12, I bet the odds are insane. Like, I don't see it for Nevada though. They haven't done a deep dive on Nevada, but if you can find it's Eastern Washington gets them at like the perfect time, coming off the Big Ten body blow. I think 0-12 is on the table. So, any other plays in this conference, guys?
I had a couple that I was close to taking. I mean, in Mendenhall, do we trust over 2 with New Mexico?
I definitely lean over, but their schedule does have some challenges. Shout out to Robert Martin, who just gave us $20. Hell of a nice guy.
There we go. By the way, we're talking about Bronco Mendenhall, not Rashard Mendenhall, who I don't think would be a fan of our podcast if you remember his comments.
Rashard Mendenhall?
Yeah.
He's had a bunch of weird comments, so it depends on which ones.
Oh.
Well, he said he was so sick and tired of average white guys commenting on football. And I mean, if there was ever 3 average white guys, you're looking at him.
Well, I mean, I've got a point, but yeah, I mean, fair.
I think you're right. That maybe it's smart to hold off on that.
Yeah, like I lean over with Mendenhall. It's just, and I lean over with Calhoun at Air Force, but I can tell you my guy Rick Baum, the guy that was close to the program, I tend to be a little weary because he's weary of them, and he's been on the over like every year. I'll tell you one that I do like though that I can be talked into would be San Diego State on the over. I think this is a bowl team. When I see 5.5, I think they're just completely off on this. Like they'll beat Texas A&M Commerce in the opener. And I do believe they'll win that Central Michigan game on the 28th. I also think they should be favored against Hawaii, not by much, but like 2.5. That's 3 wins right there. They host New Mexico later in the year. They're at Utah State, which we just talked about. They end the season with an Air Force team. There's enough there. I just feel like Sean Lewis is a proven coach. He took a horrible Kent State team to a bowl season, and to me, San Diego State's much more talented than Kent State. So I kind of like that one. I could be talked into locking that one, but I'm pretty comfortable with all my plays right now. I've got everything on the board that I wanted to hit.
I kind of like Boise with the over also, but this, I mean, right off the bat at Oregon, you're going to lose one of them. So I think maybe they lose at Wyoming, or maybe they drop one to like Wazoo or something.
I think Georgia Southern might be able to get them. The opening Georgia Southern in the beginning of the season is always like really good. I feel like,
yeah. So I think I'm going to steer clear from that too. So yeah, I think I'm all done. How about you, Patty?
Just about all done. I actually want to push back on you guys about New Mexico. I know Mendenhall's there, and he's done great. I think he only won 2 games his first year at UVA, which I think was less of a rebuilding process than New Mexico has in front of them. And New Mexico's non-conference is very unforgiving. Montana State, at Arizona, at Auburn, and at New Mexico State. I think they could go 0-12.
I'm going to push back on you though. When Mendenhall took over Virginia, he had to install a brand new offense, brand new defense, right? They were not accustomed. Mike London did not run the air raid. They did not run the Rocky Long defense that Mendenhall's run. Danny Gonzalez, the previous coach, ran the Rocky Long defense. He takes over that defense that's built around that. And also Bryant Vincent's passing attack. I think it wasn't air raid by any means, but I do think it's a little more of an easier transition to me, but I that's why I'm not locking it up. It is a very hard non-con. Montana State's a 9-point favorite in the, that's an FCS in game 1. I do think they're going to beat New Mexico State this year though, in Las Cruces. But I also, another one that like I do, New Mexico State is one that you'll hear me locking up once we do the CUSA. I will take the under. I think they're going to be terrible this year. And I think Mendenhall could get Hawaii. By the time the end of the year, I think you'll see just such a drastic team, a different team than what we started off with. I think Hawaii could be on upset watch that late in the year, but I think you're right. I think like you got to win the Montana State game, and they're 9-point dogs. You know what I mean? So I like, well, that for the push, right? Because it's a flat 2 or 2.5.
Flat 2.
Fletcher.
Yeah, I'd see them as a 2-10 team.
Yeah, you're probably
you know
right.
what I mean. Like, but if I had to lean, I would say 3-9 is more likely than 1-11.
Yeah, speaking of Montana State, I don't want to get too far down a rabbit hole, but we'll talk about this maybe at some other point. I saw a line that said FCS wins over FBS teams. It was at 6.5 wins.
Ooh,
That could be one of them. But
definitely South Dakota State, Oklahoma State, North Dakota State, Colorado, Eastern Washington, Nevada, just like that. You're just sitting there saying, wow. Look, okay. So championship game picks here. And if they get to the college football playoffs, let's start off with that. Will a Mountain West team be in the college football playoff? Patty C, your thoughts?
It's close. It is very close. If it's going to happen, I think it's going to be Boise. But I think Tulane's right there. I think obviously Liberty's a threat. So one of those three. I'm going to say yeah. I think Boise gets it done.
I agree. Boise goes 11-2. They win the Mountain West and they punch their ticket.
Damn it! I thought I was the only one saying Mountain West team gets in, but then I get. You know what? Fuck it. East Carolina gets in. All right. East Carolina gets
crowbar
in.
That music in.
What is your Mountain West championship game? We saw this is the worst one to project because did you see that Kokanimi tiebreaker last season?
Yeah.
If that's still in the standing there, you're just like, good God. If that's the case, what do they use? They use like the strength of non-con schedule. I don't remember. It was something. I thought they used a metrics that was weird. They didn't use head to head at all. So head to head has no relevance in the tiebreaker. I mean, I think it's gonna be. You ready for this one? This is the Mountain West. What do we have? San Diego State against Utah State. Was that 3 years ago? Then we had Fresno. Was it Fresno Boise or Fresno San Diego State 2 years ago? And last year was UNLV Boise.
Some parity there.
Wyoming against Colorado State. Mountain West Championship. Boise gets upset. We haven't seen this kid throw a pass yet. Malachi Nelson coming in there like he's Brett Rippin.
If that's the case, I think it's Wyoming plus 1,400 to win the conference, Colorado State plus 1,200.
Boom. Let's go.
Take a stab at both of them, and you're going to win
Let's
regardless.
Go.
Ooh.
I think there's more questions with Boise. I think there's more questions. It is a rivalry. I think there's more. I think there's more questions with Boise, even though I still think Boise's schedule is fucking great. Though you look at it within the conference, you're like, that Wyoming game is everything. Wyoming has to beat them, and Colorado State must beat either Air Force or Fresno, and then it can happen.
But I mean, are there some questions with Boise? Yes, but you could argue they had the best offensive line in the conference, the best defensive line, the best linebackers, maybe the best secondary. Their defense should be absolutely loaded. I definitely am picking Boise to be in the Mountain West Championship game and win it. But I kind of like your play on Colorado State. They're going to beat the Rams in the Mountain West title game.
But if they're not using the rankings, which Boise would then be if let's say Boise, Wyoming, Colorado State. Well, yeah, I guess Wyoming could get fucked because the head-to-head doesn't mean anything.
Well, I have Boise as a 1-loss conference team and Wyoming as a 2-loss.
Okay, but I have Colorado State as a 1-loss team and I have Wyoming as a 1-loss team. What if they're all 3-1 losses? But I don't know. It makes it tricky. It makes it tricky for that. I tend to think they would put Boise in though. So maybe I'm full of shit over here.
Without any clear tiebreakers, who knows?
Yeah, but the last season, I mean, everyone that watched knew San Jose State and Boise should have been playing. San Jose State beat the shit out of UNLV at UNLV.
Yeah,
and they just completely ignored that, and it just makes you very wary on taking that. But that's why you get the odds to get to the championship game, but even that can fuck you, I guess. But I don't know. Give me. I'll stick with my guns. Colorado State, Wyoming. Championship game. Boise
got be beautiful.
After the Oregon game is Malachi Nelson is gonna have his confidence gonna be a little shook, and that's gonna be all the difference. All right.
So let me ask you that: Are you still claiming if that's your conference championship that a group of 5 or a Mountain West team is going to the
No, I have ECU.
playoff? Oh yeah, ECU, that's right.
Man, we would never hear the end of that if that's what actually happened.
My gosh.
But I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Patty,
Okay,
see
I'm
what
going
you got.
chalk with mine. I'm going chalky. Boise, Fresno. I could see Wyoming being right there, but I think both those teams have good schedules and are the two most talented teams in the conference. So that's what it is.
I like it.
NC Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I already gave mine. Boise, Colorado State.
You didn't say champion though. You said, Boise wins the championship. Yeah,
Boise wins, and they also go to the college football playoff.
Boise
Boise deserves it. If there's one G5 team who deserves to be the first team in the playoff, it's Boise.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do. Agree.
And look, I want them you said they've never lost against Oregon, right?
Yeah, I think they're undefeated against Oregon, but
3-0 or something. I think.
Yeah, I think they're 3-0 or 4-0 against Oregon.
Well,
But
even if Oregon gets them in the regular season, if Boise is the 12 seed, there's a decent chance that if Oregon is the 5 seed, which if they beat Ohio State in the regular season, like a lot of people think they will in Eugene, and then lose in Indianapolis in the conference championship game, they'll probably be sitting there at the 5 seed. Let's have Oregon versus Boise in Eugene for the rematch. Hey, nothing would be more beautiful than a Boise upset in the first round of the playoffs.
That would
opening night. Put that as the Friday night game.
There we go.
And folks, if you like Boise to win the championship, they are the odds-on favorite. But and remember that the championship game is on campus, so that shit does matter. That's what's interesting about that. Boise had to go to UNLV last year. That was a dud of a crowd. If Boise has to go to Colorado State or Wyoming or Fresno, that does change shit, man.
True.
Something to pay attention to, folks. But yes, that's our show. Make sure you give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831, NC Nick's on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Tomorrow night we'll be back talking Big 12. It's the Big 12. So yeah, win totals, locks, Big 12 tomorrow, right around the same time, 5:30 Pacific. So check that out. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Check out the Stadium Heads Podcast. As we talk about the history of college football stadiums. So if you're a Mountain West head, you got a War Memorial in Laramie. Boys Bronco Stadium there and on the Smurf turf. Mountain West got a lot of Falcon Stadium. A lot of great stadiums in the Mountain West. Check it out. Till next time, folks. This is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know what you're getting.